The O in R stands for music always.
Okay, all right. Welcome to Ours Okay podcast. And today, episode 1 is having another baby and lesbians. Now, let me cook. Just give me a second. Let me cook. And you right, Mfundin. Life has a tendency to be complex at best. And I think I'm probably in that situation right now where I kind of have to face a lot of the decisions that I had to make. And most of the decisions that I had to make were when I was in my 20s. Now, in my 30s, I thought I was going to probably be balling. I thought I'm going to be living my best life. However, I'm kind of faced with this reality that I have to now prepare for my 40s and 50s. So what I mean by that is that, fellas, kings, let's be honest. When you're in your 20s, the first thing is get your qualifications, try get a bit of experience. That's typically the route that we take. In your 30s, you're probably thinking, by then I should be making some income. The income must be incoming, and you should be able to go to a restaurant without even having to think about entrance. If it's a club, if it's a restaurant, you just get there and be like, hey, table for 2, without even stressing. That's sort of like the life that probably a lot of us in our 20s thought we'd probably have in our 30s. However, the other gender doesn't necessarily think like that. So the other gender has a tendency to, in their 20s, live their best life. However, in their 30s, that's where they want to be stable. And that's literally about a decade gap in terms of how we're thinking. And with that, there's absolutely nothing wrong. The only problem is that when you get to your 30s, fellas, it's kind of a done deal. So I'm at a point where I'm thinking, should I now start working towards what I've already started working towards, having another baby, completely forgetting about the 30s and the life that I wanted to live? And by no means am I saying that my 30s right now are horrible. In actual fact, they're very blissful to a certain extent. However, it's one of the things that we need to really grapple with. And as you would know, fellas, every single time you try to have this conversation with the other gender, you would always sort of get the unsympathetic response consistently. You're in your 30s, you must man up. There's a lot of things that you have to do, a lot of things that you have to accomplish, and be family-oriented. But now, literally, when you hit your 30s, that's when you start getting your first income. However, you can't even spend it on yourself. You can't be balling. You can't be going on trips because jiggy now. Now you got to make sure that you support. Now you got to make sure that you also support your family. There's so many responsibilities when you're in your 30s. So what I wanted to know is, in the case of a same-sex couple, would then they also appreciate the plight that we typically go through? Surely they should, because they're batting on our field now. You know what I'm saying? So luckily, I've invited some really beautiful guests of mine, and starting with my sister, Amanda, and her one and only, Amo.
Yeah, the one and only, yeah.
All right. How you guys?
Oh, we're good. How are you?
I'm stressed. And you're right, man.
No.
Ours is not okay, man. I'm stressing, bro.
You're going to be okay.
Yeah?
But life is, it's all about that. Life is stressful. You're not going to have a period when everything is just okay.
But I think my stress is really coming from the fact that the life that I thought I'd be living in my 20s, I'm not living it in my 30s. And it has nothing to do with the level of income that I'm getting, but the choices that I've made and the responsibilities that I have now. So I don't get the opportunity to while out. Whereas with you guys, y'all were able to while out in your 20s, right?
Not really.
Well, what I would like to say first, the key word that she said was choices that I have made, right?
Okay.
So those are choices that you have made. And I'm not sure if you were aware the outcome of the choices that you have made. Because remember, what you do or anything that you decide to do, there's always a result. Ne? So let's say, for example, maybe you didn't know, this is going to be the outcome. One question to me is that, would you have still made that same choice?
Ooh. Look, to be honest, I somewhat, I'm not too sure. Let me put it like that.
Okay.
Because the truth is that in my 40s and 50s, I want to be full-on family man.
Okay.
I want to have my significant other. I want to have my many children, although I wanted one. But
okay.
I'll settle with the many children.
All right.
The more the merrier.
Okay.
I think it's part and parcel of growing up.
Yeah.
Right? But I feel like I was never given a break because in my 20s, I'm hustling, but again, I'm under my mother's and my father's care. And in my 30s, I should be liberated. I should have like a moment in time where literally I'm absolutely selfish. But
I feel what you're saying. I kind of so I understand. It's just that some of so the choices that you have made is also part of what you want, right? Because you wouldn't have made those choices unless you didn't want them, right? But then because you want those things, you need to understand that now it's not only you. There's going to be somebody else and maybe a smaller person, your child or whatever it is. So you also need to understand you cannot be selfish in any parts of that journey if that's what you are basically going to. You cannot be selfish because another person is there. So now you have to be more considerate, more selfless, even though it was you and all you knew was just you from the beginning. And that's that. You choosing what you wanted, that involves other people. You cannot now think of the word selfish or being selfish. You see? I
think that's the thing, especially for us young professionals in our 30s. It's having to then accept the fact that I've got to think about others.
Yeah.
But I think that's precisely it. At what point in time do I get where I stop thinking about others? And I think that's the conversation that maybe many of us have, but sort of in silos and in our corners to say, but I never had the opportunity to be who I truly wanted to be at a certain age.
Yeah.
Instead, I'm faced with all these responsibilities, trying to make other people happy. So what now I want to know from y'all's perspective, okay?
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
How is your relationship materializing? Do you guys feel the same way in regards to now you're in your 30s? Do you guys feel the pressure to have this family, start a family? How are you guys even going to go
like
about
navigating
that
all
and navigate
that?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay, so with me, I've always had a plan. I literally had my whole life planned out. I knew that, okay, in 2021, I wanted this and this and this. And I always tell him, the only thing right now that's not there is just that I'm not married. And I don't have a baby. But I do want a baby and I do want to get married. So how we actually meet each other halfway is that she wants a baby, she wants to get married. We both want the same things. It's just that we met at the right time right now, I believe.
How?
Yeah, how? We met at the right time because...
We're here now.
Yeah, we're here. We want the same things. I want a baby, want to get married, and considering the nature of our relationship, I'm at a happy place right now. So I don't see a reason why not to. You get me?
I would like to just say, right?
Okay.
When she met me, I was on some listen, kids, that's just, we can scratch that off. But I was very much serious in terms of I do want to get married. I'm not trying to be single forever. I'm getting old. I want to build a home. And just for me, just having that marriage, that what do you call it? What do you call marriage? Institute? Whatever that thing is for a woman, especially like me, that gives me a sense of security. I'm just speaking from my perspective, but I feel like, you know what? If we're going to get married, I know that we're building something. This is not just married to just get married. This is my life. I'm going to die with you. I'm going to have children with you, if so be it, grandchildren. We're going to do what we're going to do for our life. So I wanted that, and I've always wanted that. But with the kids, it has been just up and down. But ever since I started dating Amu, that completely a 360, you know? Yeah.
But actually, that's interesting. You're saying that, okay, I know my sis. So you saying that you've been wanting to get married.
Yeah.
Okay. Why bother yourself to get into this institution called marriage that has so many hurdles? Why couldn't you just date and be life partners? Why marry?
You know, from where I come from, I'm from a polygamous family. So my dad has 2 wives. My mom's the second one. Yeah.
Can you talk to my partner there also?
Really?
So before I was even born, he's been with both of them. Until today, he's still with both of them. And to me, I believe that there is forever, you know. So when I choose somebody that I want to spend the rest of my life with, I want it to be that person. I always tell her that my whole life, I've never introduced anybody at home. Not that I didn't want to, not that I never had an opportunity. It was just a personal choice that the day I do it, it should be the person. So I take that very seriously. I really do. I really do. So now that I'm there, I introduced her, which is like a first step to what we actually both want, you know? So to me, it's something sacred, I can say, yeah. It is.
Now, for you guys, I mean, it's not as clear cut in comparison to a heterosexual, and this is from a heterosexual perspective, mind you.
Okay.
So that's the little bit of a disclaimer. Does gender role play any significance? Because I hear you saying that you wanted to get married. This was your plan all along. Whereas with you, you had indicated, look, maybe sure in the distant future, but not necessarily now. And you found someone whom you can, share the entire life with.
Yeah.
So your perspective is changing, if not has already changed. But then with that consideration, because now you're in it, have you guys ever thought of now gender roles? Who's going to pay Lobola? Okay. If you're going to pay Lobola, because I mean, we're talking about the whole marriage situation, right?
Okay, yeah. So both of us, because we I can say we consulted our parents regarding that. And yeah, they both gave us their own, opinion and what they think.
Did you know that we consulted our mom?
Yeah, we did. My parents came. And your mom came.
Okay.
On my side, I wouldn't mind paying. I've told her and I've told your mom and my parents also. So the funny thing is that now my parents are like, okay, so since you want to play Lobola, who's going to pay Lobola for you? Because at the end of the day, you're both women. And remember, our parents, they're old.
Older generation, yeah.
So they don't understand such things. They're like, okay, you're both women. We know that Lobola is paid for the lady. But now you're both ladies. So what's going to happen?
Which I've confirmed that I wouldn't mind paying either. Like, it's not an issue to that extent where it's like, oh, no, I'm not going to be paying because what? No. That's another thing to discuss, Jorge. Gender roles, it really depends when you are in a queer relationship, because some queer relationships, there is no roles. You're taking care of me, I'm taking care of you. And I feel like society has a really hard time understanding that, But remember, all relationships are different. Everybody has their own way of doing things between, their relationship and so forth. You might not understand what we are doing, right? But I also might not understand what you guys are doing. Hence why it's like the whole gender role situation, I won't say it's irrelevant, but I feel like I understand why that question is being asked. But at the same time, if I tell you there is no gender roles, you also won't understand. So it's also hard for us to really explain to you, okay, why we shouldn't be saying there's a gender role. Do you get what I'm saying? So with that, in our relationship, it's like, I'm taking care of you because I love you. You're taking care of me because you love me. Let's find what fits for us. You know, people might not understand, which is okay. Because number one, you're not in it. Number two, you know, it's our life. And as long as you are happy, you're in love, and, you know, you're not causing any pain to anybody just by you being happy with the person that you love. You get what I'm saying?
I think a lot of people, when they tend to ask that question, they ask it in a heterosexual sense. They know that a man is supposed to take care of a woman. And then when it's two women, what happens? You know? So that's why I say, specifically me, I feel like homosexual relationships are much nicer. Because, okay, she's a woman, I'm a woman. I know how she feels. She knows how I feel. You understand? So that's why most men, they find it hard to figure out a woman. You know, you can look at a lady
just
and be like,
too damn much. Right? Anyway,
really?
Sorry,
they can't figure out a woman.
Yeah.
She can be sat there sitting alone. Well, I can feel it. You think maybe it's one of those days where she wants to go quiet,
like,
you know. But I know, the moment she's sitting by the corner and she's quiet, I'm like, oh, okay.
She doesn't give him 5 minutes. Like, maybe I just want to go in the corner and just to process something. I'm feeling some type of way.
I feel it.
What's going on? Did I even say anything at that time? Like, immediately.
Yeah.
You know, you're saying all of this, and I'm also looking at my relationship as well, and how you'd find that sometimes once in a while we'll bicker about who does the dishes, and I'd be like, hey, man, I'm a man out here. You know what I mean? Hey, listen, my cows and all that. Yeah. That's the perspective of a dude in a heterosexual relationship, and especially the one that is influenced by culture and society.
Okay.
So when you had mentioned that in a queer relationship and the likes, is that you break down those gender roles. For us, I mean, when you say it, it sounds actually amazing. It sounds like something that everyone should kind of somewhat aspire to achieve, because at that point in time, then you've got both parties helping each other consistently.
Yeah.
And not one person will feel overburdened. But for us, we still have that mentality, and it's kind of hard to shake it.
Yeah.
So for you guys, you don't even consider it at all? Or
no, it's not. Let me just say, it's not as simple as we're just saying it,
Okay.
Because we do have our moments. Like, even just with the whole dishes, we still have that moment where, no, I cooked, you washing the dishes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So it's that type of thing. Like, it's not, oh, no, I'm maybe the masculine presenting person, so I'm not going to wash the dishes type of vibe. No, it's more so like, okay, because I did this, could you at least help me out and do this, you know? And maybe the other person will be like, I'll do it soon, but it happens 3 days later.
Really?
Anyway, so, you know, things like that. So we do bicker about things like that. Even laundry, like your basic things. We experience the same kind of situations as heterosexual relationships do. Now, when it comes to a cultural sense, now that is something very hard for me to try and explain, because culturally, you know that I didn't grow up in a cultural home. So I only see that in, you know, social media, movies, and etc. Now, with men, with you guys, I feel like because you guys are men, you guys automatically expect your woman to do certain things within the household, or maybe it's outside the household. But then this type of generation now, they want a housewife and a working woman.
True story.
They want women to bring home the bacon and make sure that, you know, they're barefoot and pregnant, cooking, cleaning, and doing all of that, which I find absurd, honestly. What, like, okay, in your perspective, what I've just said.
Hey, man. Hey, I'm interviewing you, dog. in your perspective, what do you think?
No, but let me just not simplify but clarify there.
Okay.
You can find a woman that's built like that. They're built to serve their men. They don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
They don't have a problem. Tell her she's pregnant, she can cook, she can clean, she can wash. And she doesn't have a problem.
And work.
Mm-hmm. Then you find a woman who's like, no, that's not me. And it depends on the type of person that you are. Because the moment you want to bring in, okay, you do this, then it's going to be a fight.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fight. Just for a man, I don't know. But for a man, I feel like maybe men should be the ones who actually bring it up. Like, okay, do you need me to do anything? Then let it come from her. Then she will say, okay, you do this, and then I'll take care of the rest. You understand? And obviously, she won't give you something that she knows is above your shoulders. She won't tell you, okay, every day you must cook.
Okay. Say that, let's say you pay in the Lobola.
Yeah.
All right? Would you still feel the same way?
In terms of...
So you literally bought, the live cow. What's here?
Yeah.
How many cows you want here? Would you still feel that the responsibilities at home should still be equally shared? You should also go be in the kitchen.
Absolutely.
You also think the same?
Okay. Yes, I do.
But?
No, there's no but. Listen.
Okay.
So, let's say I pay the Lobola, ne? That doesn't mean that now, just because I paid, she needs to do everything. No, it's not the case. Me paying is basically me letting your family know that, okay, when she's not home, she's with me. She stays with me, she's mine now. I'm not buying her. I'm not gonna remind her every time, would say, hey, Pela, when I paid Lobola. No, because I know that's what most people do. You are mine now. Your family, they gave you to me. I paid for you and all that. Yeah. But it's not always the case.
But wouldn't you say that in your kind of setup, it's kind of easy to get to that perspective. But if you're in a heterosexual relationship, and especially you're a man in this society, whereby from the start, you're the one who's taking the girl out, you're the one who's paying for the bills and the likes, you're trying to court her essentially.
Yeah.
Up until she says, look, listen, I'm really interested now. You propose, you go buy the ring. After buying the ring, you're the one who has to save and pay Lobola. Would you then say that for that man, he should be okay with the fact that in the household, he still has to do half of the duties?
Yes. Because now, I feel like when you put all the things, taking her out, Lobola and all that, it's like it's money-based.
Yeah.
But at home, it has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with money.
But also, it just depends on the understanding that you guys have with each other. Because you're not going to, if you're going to now pay Lobola and you're just going to assume this is how it's going to happen, then that's where you're going wrong. You need to make an understanding between you and your partner. I get it, you guys have been courting, dating, doing whatever it is. When now you didn't have an issue with paying for my, my car rides, for my restaurants, for the gifts or whatever. Ne? It was fine. So now I'm thinking I'm going to continuously expect that moving forward. Ne? Have you discussed with me, what you expect? Have you made that clear, this is what you would like for your woman to do? Maybe at that point you didn't. Now, after paying Lobola, it's like a problem. Do you get what I'm saying? So it just depends on the understanding that you guys have with each other. If you guys are not free enough and comfortable enough to have that conversation, there's no point in being in a relationship. You need to be transparent. You need to be honest. Tell me what you want. I will tell you what I want. And then let's take it from there. If we're cool, for Gucci, aye.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So earlier on, you guys were speaking about having children.
Yeah.
So roughly how many children you guys are looking into getting?
Personally?
Yeah.
I want 3. Okay, 2 twins.
You just said 3.
3 because she wants 1.
Okay.
Okay. The thing is, you hear that? So basically, she wants twins. Ne?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm not carrying them because I know my health. I know that having twins is a very, very scary thing for me. And also health-wise, I know it won't be possible. But I do want to be pregnant at least once. And I would like 1 child. Ne? She's happy with twins, carrying twins, right?
Yeah. I do.
So okay, both of you guys don't mind carrying. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
when it's the time, who's gonna be carrying?
I will start first.
She'll start first, yeah.
Yeah. Because, of my health. You remember I used to have high blood pressure and I had lost the weight, but still the high blood pressure is still kind of on. So I would rather, before I get older, to start first and have my first child, and then she'll go.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how are you gonna get the child?
There's a thing called sperm banks.
Okay.
Yeah, and technology made life easier.
Okay.
You choose what you want. You want twins, you want one, you want white kids,
Yeah.
you want colors. It's
Okay.
up to you.
Now, from a heterosexual perspective, as a man, if I'm gonna have a child, that child needs to have my surname.
Okay.
Is that a consideration for you guys?
So we have agreed that I will be taking her last name.
All right.
Yes. And the reason being, I don't know if I should say this on live, but we'll edit it if you don't want it there.
Hey, man.
I don't think so, though.
No, okay, fine. I'll let you know. But we have agreed. We have agreed. So that, I do want to start my own path.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Okay. Man. That's it's fair play. And the gender of the baby, have you guys, or would that be even a consideration in a same-sex couple?
What do you mean?
Honestly, on my side,
Okay.
I feel like it would be better if it's girls.
Okay.
Reason being, culturally, when it's a boy, chances are there could be complications. You raise a child, and then even if, let's say, you get a sperm donor, you don't know the father, right? But as time goes by, they end up needing something from the father's side that could literally block each and every way of that kid. But with girls, obviously, you raise a kid, at the end of the day, she's going to change her surname and belong to another family, So less complications. So I prefer girls.
That's interesting. Because for us guys, hey man, a son is a lot, A daughter makes us completely we become putty. We are so weak in the sense that they could, run circles around us because it's our little, it's our little daughter, it's a baby girl. But from a lineage perspective, you'd want a boy so that the boy continues with the surname. So it's interesting that from your side, you'd want a girl child, whereas with you,
me, it's either or. Okay. I would be happy with a boy. I would be happy with a girl. I think because I feel like you guys have the same understanding in terms of culturally and lineage and whatever. For me, honestly speaking, that really doesn't matter. We're in a new generation where you can do things on your own. Yes, I do understand maybe my son might need something from the dad. But what did you mean by that, actually? If you
culturally, let's say maybe the kid is born, but health-wise they're not okay.
Okay.
You need to perform some traditional ritual for... You don't believe in that, but it happens.
I get it. It happens. But I don't think in our family we do things like that.
But then remember, your family and my family are different. We believe in the traditional route, you don't.
Yeah.
So should anything happen to maybe our baby, and I say, okay, maybe, let's say it's a boy.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, now, Nakona, it depends. Is the father white? Because white people don't go through that route as well. So if the father is white, then maybe chances are it wouldn't even be a problem.
Okay.
But if they are black, then they are now there. It could be an issue because you can't ignore it.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like if we ever consider that means we're desperate. Do you know what I'm saying? We've gone through doctors, we've gone through pastors, we've gone through whatever it is, specialists. Because I would never in a million years ever think to try and resolve something with my child or for my child, health-wise, whatever it is, spiritually or culturally. I wouldn't go that route,
Obviously, once you reach that point, you've tried everything. a kid can be sick. Ne? You take them to the hospital, they tell you this child is perfectly fine. You go to specialists, everywhere. They say, no, this child is perfectly fine. But you as a mother, you know my child is not okay. You can see that my child is not okay. And that thing, it doesn't need doctors. It doesn't need doctors.
I don't know.
They want to know their kid, maybe. They do want to know their kid. And you are keeping them from them.
If the doctor is telling me that my child is okay, that means wapa, but there's nothing wrong.
No.
Wow.
No, there's nothing wrong.
No.
Okay.
She just needs to go to, a therapist or something if it's really that bad.
You're looking at it in
Because
the Western sense. Look at it traditionally as well. You understand? Look at it in all aspects.
Okay, although I do respect that and I do understand that, it's just because I haven't been brought up in that type of environment and I haven't experienced that type of situation that close to me, I feel like that is never going to happen in my life. Honestly.
So this now actually leads us to that conversation about the gender roles. Typically in a heterosexual relationship, you follow the man's culture. Now that the situation is slightly different here, and it seems like there's a difference of opinion.
Yes.
So whose culture will then supersede the other in this situation?
Well, I won't say I will teach them my culture. If she wants to, she can. At home, we're going to do things our way. But I'll definitely make sure that they know where I personally come from and where she comes from. Because, my guy.
Oh, gosh. Really?
So it's something that you'd have to consider.
Yes. No, of course. That's yes. I don't have a problem with exposing them to different cultures, my culture and her culture. But the only time where I will be uncomfortable or have like a problem is when something that I don't believe in and that I feel like my kids don't necessarily need to know, that is where I'm going to have maybe a little bit of a conflict. They don't need to know that, if there's an issue, they should go to a spiritual healer. I don't think that's necessary.
Okay, I get that. But it's not always the case, Ane. It can be that, like I made an example, a kid is sick. You go to any doctor, the best doctors that you know, they say, no, this child is okay. Ane. You see that this child is not okay, but they don't see anything wrong with the kid.
Yeah.
What's your next step? You let the kid die.
How?
Obviously, you can't. You need to look at other alternatives. If it means take the kid to a sangoma, take the kid to a sangoma.
Ngeke.
I'm telling you. You're speaking now because the life is not there. Wait till the kid is alive. You see them sitting there, not okay. And they tell you, no, this kid is okay. But you see as a parent that, no, this child, you are gonna.
No.
You are gonna. Believe me.
I would literally, if I
What
have
would
to
you do?
pray and go
Honestly,
to a
what would you do?
pastor, like sangoma is the last thing. And I'm not saying anything negative about that.
I get
but
you.
it's not something that I would ever consider. I won't lie
Okay.
to you.
Even if your child's life depended on it.
I'm busy looking at other solutions.
Which are, literally, you looked at everything. When I say everything, you took her or him to the best doctors, pastors, they prayed, prayer meetings the whole weekend.
Yeah.
But nothing.
Okay, let me say it like this, ne? Before I consider taking my child to a sangoma, ne? It's when I am depleted. When I say, as in like, I went through years.
Sometimes you're going to lose a kid like that.
Nah, bruh. That's never going to be the case. Because why?
Yes.
My God is powerful. My God is good, oh.
I understand
It will never
that.
happen. Tofia. Never.
I'm telling you, ne?
Never.
If the child's life depends on it, you won't even consider.
I know.
I'm telling you. If you really, 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 really love your kid, there's no way you're going to let your kid suffer while you're sitting
obviously,
there.
There's obviously
no
never.
way.
But
There's no
I
way.
know for a fact, Pella, if you go to a sangoma, I'm not saying all cases, ne? But you have to sacrifice something.
Sacrifice for what?
How?
For what?
So you go,
Not necessarily.
No.
But for me, what's important is that clearly there are topics whereby even your same-sex couple can't really immediately agree on.
Yes,
you see.
yes.
So for us then, in a heterosexual relationship, where we're consistently battling with opinions and perspectives, so it's normal And that's what I'm picking out from this, or taking out from this conversation.
Yes.
Yeah, because spirituality is a huge thing, and to be honest, I'm actually a believer in it.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't had this conversation before, but I am, and I'm aware of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there are things that which you'd find, your medical scientists cannot achieve in comparison to what a spiritual healer would be able to do. But again, it's one of those conversations whereby both parties will have to have.
Yeah.
But in a, again, heterosexual relationship, you have, as a male figure, you kind of get the upper hand. That's how I feel. You get the upper hand, especially if I truly, wholeheartedly believe in spirituality. I'll then demand to say that we need to use this as an intervention.
Okay.
But then now in a same-sex couple, I don't know how you guys are going to resolve it, because it is an important conversation to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I suppose there's a complexity in it. Now, in regards to the child, right? You have your beautiful baby there. Because now it's happening in outside there, whereby they already determine the gender of the child at an early age, which does not make sense.
Okay.
But again, that's subjective. What's your take on it, being in a same-sex relationship as it is?
Okay.
Oh, repeat the question.
So having to determine the gender of your child.
Okay.
So let's say, for instance, it's a boy, right?
Yeah.
But the boy is not playing with the cars, not playing the shooting game situation.
Okay.
Do you now subconsciously bring in things around the child in order to somewhat drive the child into a certain particular gender?
So, okay, the whole driving, I feel like that shouldn't be done regardless. I feel like if my child wants to play with a Barbie doll and he's a boy, I'm going to let him play with a Barbie doll. If my daughter wants to, only play with cars and only play with boys, I'm going to allow her to do that. Kids, they're like sponges. They absorb a lot of, knowledge, and, they find things and they try to make sense of things. That period, you need to let them do that. That doesn't always determine what they're going to become. No. But for me as a parent, I want to be a full supporter of what my child wants to do. I will not encourage I want to encourage my child to learn and, make decisions and wise decisions for themselves. But I would not try and drive my child towards, oh, okay, you're a boy, play with cars. Or you're a girl, play with Barbie. No, I feel like that's wrong.
That's wrong.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, since we're in the same-sex relationship now, once the baby is there, I feel like they will be more open and they will learn about such things so that when they go outside, they will be exposed to it, Unlike a kid not having an answer when they ask you, okay, maybe, for example, where's your dad? Some kids, they take it harsh, where's my dad? Where is my dad, Vale?
Or they even bully them for that.
They would bully them. But then once we have that kid in that household and they say, okay, this is how home is like, they will adjust to that. They will learn. Obviously, we're going to teach them as well about how it's going to be like. So if they want to have a different life, that's okay. That's okay. But I agree with her. There's no way we can...
You can't steer.
Tell a kid to be like this, be like this, So they will make their own decisions when they can.
Personally, just me knowing myself, I would like to look at myself as a very strong woman. Okay?
Yes, girl.
Yes. Okay. Anyway, so I know that how I'm going to raise my child when he or she goes out, they have enough confidence. They're sure about themselves. They know that their family loves them, that whatever is being said in the playground or whatever it is, it's more so like, oh, okay, that's what you think, but I think otherwise, move on, type of vibe. Do you know what I'm saying? So I know that I'm going to try my hardest to make sure that my child loves themselves is sure about themselves and doesn't get affected by what others say about them. So that's what I would like to instill.
Nice one. Segueing now to my last question. It's about the male role model. Have you guys considered that within your relationship, and in particular, considering having children?
Do you want to go?
No, you go.
Okay, so I've thought about that a lot. Ne? Now, if we look at the current society, right? And I don't want to be, like, I'm not trying to be, what's that word? Negative. But like, if my child goes out and sees an example of a male role model in today's society, would I be satisfied or be okay to be like, okay, they, you know, even if I was in a heterosexual relationship, this won't necessarily affect them? Because had it been maybe, I don't want to say back in the days, because back in the days, there was also problems as well. But like the current male role model, I feel like they're going to see it and be like, is this what a male role model is? Is this what having a dad looks like? Is this, do you know what I'm saying? Just from a personal perspective. Some people grew up lucky, you know, their dads were around, you know, and they made sure to show, okay, this is how a man should be or how a father should be, whatever. But most cases, a male role model is not, it's not there, I feel. So now I battle with myself and be like, okay, if my child needs a male role model, how would that look like? I don't know how that would look like, but I do know how I would want my child to see what a parent is and what, you know, being a good person is and, you know, making wise decisions. But I just cannot connect that with a male role model, if that makes sense. So that's my answer to that.
Hectic. Okay.
I mean, you're asking these strong questions, you know, so what do you want me to say?
Nah, all right. In your view?
I think it also brings us back to, remember when I said I want girls?
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily think they will need that.
Why?
Because, I mean, with girls, it's always mommy.
Yeah, but they also...
Okay, yeah, they need daddy, but...
Yeah, because they also need to see an example. Well, okay, let's just say, hypothetically, they need to see an example of how a man should treat a woman and how, you know, if, for example, well, I'm assuming, I'm just assumption, they're straight, right? So they don't have that idea of what a heterosexual relationship looks like at home, right? So they don't know how that looks like. So do you think it's necessary for them to have that male role model so that they know how to know this is how a man should treat a woman? And, you know, this is what, you know?
That's Uncle Ozzy.
Really? Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, right.
I mean, there's that, but don't give him props like that.
Hey, man.
No, but then I mean...
And plus, the Lobola is going to go through me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Standard.
I got that day.
Hey.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, yeah, it doesn't... I mean, if there's like Uncle Ozzy, he's going to take her through, you know?
But he's a one man with 7 billion kids. I'm just playing.
Yeah, but then that doesn't mean he won't be a male role model to our kids.
I feel you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
No, it does. It means that, look, I think the biggest thing is that this thing is not easy.
It isn't.
It really isn't. And I think a lot of the times when we think about relationships, we tend to think on the surface, but like, given the conversation that we had here, where even spirituality could be a bone of contention. And we never thought about it.
Yeah.
And you might find that in actual fact, spirituality is a huge component for somebody in comparison to us and like oversight. So it's interesting to know that in as much as we are different in terms of our relationships and who we prefer, but at some point there's a convergence whereby we share sort of the same life experiences within the relationship. Hard decisions that need to be made. I mean, from your perspective, you're like, it doesn't really matter to whether there's a man there or not, right? But then for you, it could be quite important because maybe you didn't really experience that.
Yeah.
And you want your child to at least have that experience, you know? And yeah, I'm going back to spirituality. All right, it's about that time. Any parting shots?
Nah, but I just feel blessed to be the first guest here. Guys,
Hallelujah.
please follow and subscribe.
Can only be your sister.
Can only be my sister.
No, please, because I get you have a lot of topics you're going to be talking about and you're preparing, so
100.
it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. And
Thank you for having us.
all right. Follow and subscribe. Oz OK Podcast. You can check us out on YouTube, Instagram, as well as on Twitter. We're not on Facebook though. Yeah, man. Expect more shots.
The O in Oz stands for music always.